Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Quarantine Questions. Today I've got JustJon here from SoulBox. So without further ado, JustJon, why don't you just tell us a bit more about yourself, what you do, how we know each other?
Yeah, my name is John, and my name as I go by is JustJon, is my artist name, and I'm part of a band called SoulBox, and Dan is our sound engineer, our favourite sound engineer by far, and we tour all over the place with him, and it's always loads of fun being with Dan. But that's what I do. I'm a singer and a rapper, and then I do a little bit of writing as well. A little bit of writing on and off. Well, I say on and off. I try and write more and more.
More and more over quarantine.
Idea is that more and more over quarantine. You know what I found out about quarantine, though? There's all this pressure to write that I've actually ended up worse at writing now. I was saying to you the other day on the phone, right? I'm just like, now everything I'm doing is just rubbish. And I'm not sure if it's because I work with loads of really talented people or if it's because I'm just getting cold feet. You know what I mean? Getting a bit of writer's block. I don't know.
Get all that crap out the system, and then the pure good stuff will flow.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
I remember once in a school with you. This is one for your channel then.
Yeah.
We were in a school once with Dan, and we started talking about like, what's the best, advice you've ever had, or how do you grow as an artist?
Yeah.
And then there was an analogy you used once of turning turning the tap on, and it's always stuck with me actually from writing.
Awesome.
So every time I'm writing, I'm like, when you turn the tap on, you need to let all the rubbish come out first before you actually get to the good stuff.
That's actually an Ed Sheeran analogy. I'm not not going to claim it as my own.
You should have claimed that. You should have claimed that.
Oh mate, it's a great documentary though. It's Ed Sheeran's documentary. About him writing the Divide album and how he did all that process. Really interesting, worth a watch.
Yeah, 100%. I'll do it. He's a legend as well, obviously. It's like totally
homegrown, worked his way up.
Yeah, man. I've heard stories about him. Like I've worked with producers that worked with him previously, and they said when he became famous, he changed he blocked their number anyway, so he probably didn't like him.
Just change your number if you get famous. Just have a different phone.
Yeah. Exactly. But he was like the most talented person he ever worked with. Just walked in and just like so much creativity.
Yeah.
He said it was mad.
Crazy. Should we get into the questions then?
Let's do it. I'm ready for the questions, Daniel.
Do you want to describe a time you almost missed a deadline? Are you drinking white wine?
I'm sorry. I'm drinking white wine at the same time.
That's cool.
I am.
I'm on the Budweiser.
Because I'm doubling exactly. I'm doubling this up as us hanging out as well.
Oh, well.
So that's what's happened. I'm like, I get to have a drink with Dan, and also we get to do something for his YouTube channel. We describe a time I missed a deadline. How did we catch up? There was one time, right? Me and Ben decided, spur of the moment. We were doing a sound check in North London. I think it was Tottenham, and I'd never had a Five Guys milkshake before, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I like to be on time. Like, you'll know this. I'm quite keen to be on time and make sure I'm there. And we had a sound check. Let's say it was like 6:30 or something. And I was like, right, I really want a Five Guys milkshake because Ben had been going on about it for like forever. Ben's a rapping guy. Yeah. Who was in SoulBox with us, another rapper. And he was like, look, we can probably do it. And then this guy told us that there was a Five Guys round the corner. Yeah. So we were like, sweet, like half an hour to sound check. We'll go round the corner, get to this Five Guys, come back. We were walking, and this guy obviously said round the corner. We've been walking for it must have been 30 minutes. We just lost track of time, and it was our sound check, but we still hadn't got to Five Guys.
Google Maps.
Now, what you should... I mean, I don't know what had happened. We'd ran out of phone battery or something, because it was also the reason we didn't know the time.
Classic.
Right? So I was like, classic. Disorganised, on the road, been out for a week. Do you know what I mean? You're just tired. All I wanted my sugar fix. And we just kept going and kept going and kept going. And we ended up with this Five Guys milkshake, but we were an hour late for sound check, which is the latest I've ever been for sound check, right? Like, I've never been an hour late for sound check in my life. And we rocked up. Mind you could probably tell me if I have been. Anyway.
No, you're on time. You're on time.
And turned out an hour late, and I was so guilty. But the worst of it was I had this Five Guys milkshake in my hand, so they knew where I'd been. Yeah, and they were just like, oh, forget it. They were basically like, you're a track act. It doesn't matter anyway. And I was like, thanks.
Just sing into a mic. A couple of seconds. Set your InEars.
Literally, that was it. Just get the levels, innit? You know what I mean? That's about it.
I mean, nowadays, me and you, when we sound check and stuff, because it's all digital desk, I literally just recall the last scene and we kind of just do half a chorus or the first verse of a song, don't we? And we're like, oh, that'll do.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Exactly. And sometimes it gets to like 10 minutes just before and people start going to me, they're calling me to the side going, John, maybe you should sound check now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't worry, Dan's got it.
Be fine.
We're fine. It's already saved in.
Yeah. Same as last time. We'll be fine. Same order.
Same song, same everything.
Different stage, different location. Same songs, same rappers.
Yeah.
Same lyrics. Same levels. Do you want to describe a time when you misunderstood a brief and what happened? Turned up to the wrong location or something?
I mean, yeah, we were in Wales once and we turned up. Somehow we put the postcode in from the previous gig.
Yeah.
So we were touring South Wales and we put a tour in for the wrong gig. And again, we're about an hour away and we turned up at the wrong location, telling them that we were there. That was a pretty bad one. I remember once. I mean, that's just a bad one. I remember once in school, right? I was a bit of a drama nerd in school. I know this isn't to do with music. It was kind of to do with music, but we were in school and they were like, oh, I can't really remember what it was, but they wanted a drama.
Yeah.
And I decided to make a really funny drama about this man having an oversized penis, right?
As you do.
Because, yeah, it was really funny.
It's going to be one of the tags on YouTube now. Oversized penis.
So literally, right, I made this drama with my mates. They were like, this isn't what we're supposed to do. I was like, yeah, because the brief was like, what happens, say that it was like a novel. It was like a novel we were reading, and then it's like, what would this person do after the story ends? Yeah. And I was like, well, what happened was, I thought I was really funny. I was like 13.
That's clown.
It's not funny. Yeah. I was like, well, what happened was he got a medical condition in his penis, which meant it was really big, and he had to carry it around in a wheelbarrow, right?
As you do.
Yeah. And I was like, that's the story. Yeah. But I got told off for that big time. I got detention, everything.
Did you have to act it out?
And she was... Yeah, I acted it
Which
out.
part were you playing? The wheelbarrow?
I was... Obviously, mate. Obviously. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that was the thing. The worst... Genuinely... I was so embarrassed after because I just got told. But everyone thought it was funny at the time. When you're a kid, like an oversized penis is funny, isn't it?
100%.
I mean, it's funny now.
Oh, great stuff. What about your most exciting gig or biggest gig you've done as SoulBox, as JustJon?
Most exciting gig?
The gig you've had most fun
I remember
at,
one.
anyway.
Yeah, there's been loads of ones. One that stuck out in mind, like I just started rapping at one point and I was going around with a group called Fresh Beats, right?
Sick
and
name.
This group, Fresh Beats, we hadn't done a huge amount. I'm going to move my mic around because it's not... And we not done a lot of gigs and we got this thing which at the time was opening for Governor B, which for us was a really big deal because people knew who he was.
And we were doing all these... and everything.
Yeah, an award-winning artist, and you're like, wicked, yeah, we get to go. Everyone had paid a load of money to go there. It was like 15 quid a ticket, whatever, like 200 people there. This was a really exciting moment. And basically it got to like 7, let's say the gig started at 7, and he just didn't turn up, right? Governor B didn't turn up. And they're like, we don't know what to do because he hasn't turned up. Anyway, we get on, we perform, and everyone was just up for it. You know, one of those gigs where everyone just wants to go for it. And at the time, we were writing so many bars. We had so much content that literally you could say to us, rap for another hour, and we'd go, yeah, cool, we'll rap for another hour. And we got another hour's, say we did half an hour opening set, whatever. And it got to like let's say 7:30 was going on, and he just wasn't there. And they're like, look, can you like go on for another 40 minutes? Right, performing to this crowd, taking his set. I can't remember what the reason was. He didn't turn up, but I was terrible. I kept making these jokes, like getting on my phone and going, "Oh yeah, it's Governor B. He says he's just at KFC. He'll be here in a minute."
You love KFC.
And putting the phone. Yeah, I mean, well, it always gets a mention in whatever conversation for some reason. Exactly, but I kept making these jokes and stuff, and that was exciting for us. But it was exciting because I felt like we got an opportunity that we wouldn't otherwise have had to perform for a group for people that actually wanted to hear the kind of style of music I was doing at the time. Other exciting gigs. I mean, yeah, I always find it. I mean, what? Oh, do you remember that one gig? Where was that one gig? Which was that church, right, in Cambridge? You were there.
The cathedral.
No, what? No, and all the kids ended up being rammed in, and technically they had no limit on the amount of people that could come in.
Not the junction at Cambridge.
No, it was basically we did this. We did this.
Cambridge, to be fair. Oh, the one recently where it was just me and you guys.
Maybe I can't. Anyway, this is my recollection. Maybe you'll be able to remind me, and this could be totally wrong. What happened was because we do gigs in schools and stuff, and we invite kids to the gig from the schools, and sometimes it goes well and sometimes it doesn't and whatever, but sometimes kids just go mad, or like it just goes mad and the gig goes off, and this was we were expecting 300, and then we filled it up with 400 people. They couldn't properly move. There was St. Neots. Sorry, that's not Cambridge, my bad.
Area, isn't it?
Yeah. And they're packed and there's water going everywhere. But the exciting thing for me was they all had came to see us. Yeah. And then everyone had learnt the songs before coming. So everyone knew all the words. They were singing along, and then they were chanting. Yeah. They were but what also was really exciting was you're talking to the people who've organised the event or whatever, or the people who, and they're like, oh yeah, we can get another 50 in.
Yeah.
And you're looking and you're going, you're like, you can't get another 50 in this place. But because it's a really old building, this is what I understand. They didn't have a proper number, a legal number. Yeah. They'd never been assessed. So they were like, yeah, another 50 can come in. Yeah, another 50. Anyway.
It was safe.
Do you remember that? It was. Yeah, you have to say. You're the one who's. This is my interpretation of what happened, right? So it might be totally wrong, but this is my interpretation. And it was safe, and everyone was fine. But it was just so much fun, man. That was a wicked gig, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that was a fun one. Yeah, I was thinking more about Llandudno, the one we did recently. Was that a fun gig for you? What was that? 2,500 kids.
Yeah. No, that was amazing. That was amazing. But for me, that felt like a bit of an out-of-body experience because I've been on the road for 3 weeks,
Yeah, you were dead to the world, to be fair. Jumped up on stage, dead to the world. Full of adrenaline, did your thing, came off and crashed
and then
again.
Literally, did you see me as I got off? Literally, I got off stage and I was like, I'm done. And I was getting ready because it was just on adrenaline. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna I could do another 3 weeks. Stuff like that. It doesn't even
10
matter.
minutes later.
And I got off and just crashed, man. But yeah, that was a wicked gig. Llandudno was a wicked gig.
That was a good one.
And yeah, they were mad. They were mad, weren't they?
They loved it.
And then that one was one where it got too hot and we needed to open all the windows and doors, garage doors and stuff. That was weird, man. But no, it was so much fun. Llandudno was great.
Good fun.
And I also learnt how to say Llandudno, and I might still be saying it wrong.
And venue Cymru? Crime Room? How'd you say it?
Venue? Oh no, this is the one I get wrong all the time. I can't remember. Oh,
Cymru.
Venue Cymru.
That was
Venue
that was the
Cymru.
gig location.
Yeah, that was an amazing location though, wasn't it? Really cool. Yeah, that was wicked. There was another one we did in Cornwall, which was I'm just babbling at this point. Another one we did in Cornwall, and it was just me and Ben, and it was because a lot of what we do is based around faith stuff. When we get to do secular venues, it's really precious for us, and it feels really cool, you know. And we did this the biggest venue in this place in Cornwall, and we basically sold out 2 times over.
Sick.
And we were like, what do we do now? And they were like, well, we've got to expand it and stuff. But it was this really, really cool venue, and amazing artists had performed a couple of weeks before. You know, when you look at the previous week's performance and you're like, wow, that person. Yeah, it's like when we performed at somewhere once, I can't remember, and Jess Glynn was playing the next week, and you're like, wow, Nicki Minaj was on this last week, and this person's on, and this one was
little old us.
Yeah, and then we just hi guys. But that was really cool, and that was just cool because it was we'd had no previous time there before, and it was nice to see that people appreciated what we did, you know.
That's good, man.
I guess.
Good. Thinking on your feet. How good are you at it? If you can you describe a time when you were required to think on your feet?
I think I'm quite good at thinking on my feet in terms of like, sometimes we'll be in schools or something and a kid will say something.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we do schools lessons and stuff. So like I have to learn to think like a teenage boy or a teenage girl sometimes. And they might say something and then I need to respond. If they're challenging, I need to respond in a way that like respects them, acknowledges them, but then at the same time doesn't condone the behaviour. So I think with that stuff, I'm quite good at thinking on my feet. I think I'm okay at it, but like a lot of the time, I just look to the sound engineers. So a lot of the time, I'll just look to you and I'll go, I don't know, mate.
Ask him.
I'll go, Dan,
Yeah.
Dan, what do you think? Yeah, let's go with what Dan thinks.
Pull me in.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, evil. What about freestyling and stuff? If you forget your words.
Oh, yeah, no, freestyling. I'm terrible at freestyling lyrics. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
I used to do it. Back in the day, I used to do it. And I got quite good at it. Like, I used to be able to freestyle for like half an hour or something. Like, half an hour to 40 minutes. And it was all genuine lyrics. Like, the flows were quite slow and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't do it anymore. The reason I don't do it anymore is because, like, I could say something.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time you don't know what's coming out because you're just kind of rhyming.
Sure.
I could say something totally offensive, offend someone, and then like ruin the reputation that, you know, obviously you work as an artist. Like, even when you go places, you're kind to people, you work with people well.
Yeah.
For me as an artist, I think it's really important to respect like the people around you, like the people who book you, the sound engineers, the stage, like everybody. You try and make sure that you respect them, and that is building a reputation, not just for me, but for if we're part of SoulBox, that people like working with us. But if I go up and I do a freestyle and I say something that's totally inappropriate, I could ruin a reputation like that in a single moment. So I don't freestyle anymore because I'm like, no, thank you. And if I say it's a freestyle, I wrote it 2 years ago and they've just not heard it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
In the back catalogue.
Exactly.
What about best artists you've worked with? Been on stage supporting or like,
Yeah. I mean, more recently, because I've started to do a lot more writing.
Sure.
So doing a little bit of secular writing and stuff and whatever. And just recently I've worked with some people and I'm like, wow, like they're amazing songwriters, you know? Obviously, like our producer's Geek Boy, Al Swettenham. I think he's a genius, and it's such a pleasure to work in the studio with him to write an album. And you're just like, he's so talented and so amazing. He's writing like huge J-pop and K-pop songs at the minute. He's really taken everyone by storm, isn't he? Worked with another producer I work with, Mike Loetto. I love working with him.
Yeah.
I'm at a really privileged place actually, I think, where I get to people like if it's just people who are excellent, like the best people, I feel like I work with a lot of excellent people.
Sure.
So I'd say you're excellent, and that's why like if we perform, we like having you because you're excellent, you know. So in that sense, I work with loads of people who are amazing. But like Geek Boy, I love him. I once did something with a guy, right, and who was amazing. And his name, a moment that you remember being amazed of writing something. Yeah. A guy called D. Ray Pitan.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's still doing stuff. I'm like literally right in front of my computer now. But I remember sitting with him and he was sorry, you might get now a load of clicking. I'll stop it.
Go for it.
But I remember working with him and he was just great to work with. Like, he was just a really nice guy. Sticks out in your mind. But for me, I feel like I've got to work with so many amazing producers. Not so many artists, as in, like, famous artists. Sure. I was with someone the other day that's written some huge songs for some very, very, very big people that I'm a bit embarrassed to talk about because they're new connections. But it's amazing, That's cool.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
What about worst food or worst experience on the road? Let's do worst food first, and we'll do worst experience afterwards.
Worst food?
Yeah.
Worst food. The worst food. You might be able to tell me this because I just half the time I'm like, I'll eat anything. I'm like, cool. If you're feeding me, I'll eat it. We went to one place. We'd done a whole day and we hadn't eaten, and someone was kind enough to cook us food. They're like, come to our house. We'll make you some food. I'm like, sweet. This is amazing. We turn up. Me, Sammy, and Ben, who were in SoulBox. We turn up to this place and we're like walking in, and it looks like the kind of place you would be sold crack, right? And that's not that's a bad thing, you know, because different areas, crack. From what I hear, crack is great. But I'm there, and and we get there, and we're like, we don't know what's happening. We knock on a door. They're like, we don't know who you are, and I'm like, what? And then another person comes in and says, yeah, I said I'd cook for you. We walk in. And they cook us this food. We're starving. It's been all day. And they give us half a freezer burger that they cooked in the oven, right? And I'm not kidding, about 5 chips. And they said that was our dinner, right? And I'm like, just can't believe it. We're in Jersey.
Sure.
And I'm like,
is there a McDonald's in Jersey or a KFC?
Exactly. Well, there's not a lot in Jersey is a problem. So we're there, we eat it. I'm still starving, and the food is horrific. But you know what? The woman was so lovely, and we had great conversation, but that was the worst food. Bless her. Hope she doesn't see this. Hope she doesn't guess it's her.
It was a man, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Exactly. It wasn't really.
What about your worst experience on the road, apart from that one?
Worst experience on the road was, see, I don't mind. I get really upset, like if my team gets ill or something. And there was one week we had, I think it was Cambridge, and we'd went from. It was a mad time. That was after Jersey, actually.
Yeah.
It was something like we'd done a week somewhere. It was like 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks.
We did a week in
Cardiff,
done a week
somewhere.
And then we went to Jersey for a week and a bit, and then we went to Cambridge, I think it was.
Yeah, but in between we went from.
You did one in Birmingham between
Jersey,
when I was going from
back
one to the
Cardiff.
Other.
Yeah. So it ended up being like, I want to say 21 days of just doing,
back-to-back.
Active back-to-back performing. And when we perform, especially if it's in a school, it's a different kind of performing because you've got to do lots of communication, but then also be singing all the way through the day. So you've literally got to sing from 9, some days from 8:30, whatever, to 9 with a 3-hour break in the middle or something. That's if it's a gig day. So it's very trying on your throat. And basically everyone got ill. Like Sammy and Ben was ill. I remember literally before going on stage in Wales. This is after we've been in Wales, flown to Jersey for
a week in Jersey.
Went back to Wales. Cardiff, didn't you? Yeah, we flew to Cardiff to perform that night. So we got off the plane ready to perform in like 3 hours or whatever. And I just had like people just vomiting in SoulBox, vomiting. Like when we're about to go on stage and they're vomiting. And because we believe what we do so much, they go, yeah, I'm going to go on and perform. They go on and perform, but it's just, it's that exhaustion and they're fighting through it. And then we went and did another week. And to be honest, it was an amazing week, but people were just broken because of too much work. So that was my worst experience. I mean, I could have chosen a funny one.
Go for a funny one.
But, I don't know a funny one now. I'm too deep in it. I had one. Oh no, this is funny. We did a gig, and this is not a joke. We did a gig on a double-decker bus.
As you do. Driving around Manchester.
It wasn't. It was Liverpool,
Liverpool,
and it was a converted double-decker bus. Like my family are from Liverpool, and people in Liverpool, especially on the estates, are like they're rough, man. So I was with this girl, and this was a 13-year-old girl, right? And she's chatting to me. She's telling me how she's a boxer and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, great, yeah, really nice.
Awesome.
But then I got to perform.
Yeah, good for you.
So I start performing. There's no barriers or anything. There's like 15 kids, just me and Ben. So there's 2 of us, like 15 kids, 20 kids. They're all circling us. But then we're performing, but it turns into this weird thing of like, this girl's trying to get my attention because I'm performing and singing because that's what young people are like. They just want attention off people. That's fine. That's a natural human thing that everybody wants. But it's more obvious in younger people. And then she's there, and I look at her, and I'm like, hey. Turn around, I'm singing. She smacks me on the back of the head. 13-year-old girl. And I'm not kidding you. I was nearly knocked out. I saw stars. So a 13-year-old girl nearly knocked me out. I was 25 years old. And a 13-year-old girl nearly knocked me out. Luckily, I was able to keep singing. I don't know how I did it. But yeah, that was a thing in Liverpool. Thanks, Liverpool.
Have you gone back since?
I actually haven't. No. Not to Liverpool. No. That was that was a whole thing. Knocked out by a teenage girl.
What about best food that you've had?
We went to one private school. Yeah. Were you at this private school?
I didn't go to a private school, but I may have come to a private school with you.
Yeah, sorry, come to a private school with it. I didn't go to a private school either. Although I got kicked out of high school.
Good effort.
Yeah, I tried, and then got accepted into a grammar school, but then got removed from there as well. So, 2 for 2. We went to this private school to do a gig. Yeah, right. And literally, it was just like the greatest food ever, but it was like a buffet, and you could have whatever you wanted on this gigantic thing, and it costs like 15 grand a year for these kids to go to this school and just eat all that you want. And it was amazing.
In-house chefs,
like homemade cookies and all that. Yeah, they have proper chefs. Not that cafeteria isn't good in high schools normally, but they obviously had the money to flex on good food.
Something you do. Yeah, I mean, where were we? We were in Anglesey, I think it was. Well, we're in North Wales anyway, and Ben literally just had some broccoli and rice, if you remember, one of the days in school.
Yeah. Because he's vegetarian, that's all he could eat.
That's all they had that he could eat. Like, no vegetarian options, no vegan options, no cheese-free option or anything. Just broccoli and rice, I think it was.
And he's like, no, I'm fine. And it's that moment when they go, we can make you something else. And you go, oh, no, I'm fine. But really, you're like, it's
a bit
weird,
late
isn't
now
it?
Because something else,
I just got to live with it, haven't I? Yeah, but that was the thing. It's always hard for you because you're dairy-free as well,
correct.
Ain't you?
Yeah.
It's in my brain now. It took me about 2 years.
And the cheese and the pizzas and stuff that get offered is insane, really.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't really even be eating that before you go on stage.
No, I know. And you know what? If it was when I first started performing, it would have been, I would have not had those things. Yeah. But now it's like, I'm just lazy. I need to get back on it. That is what it is, It's you become so used to it. But the biggest thing for me, I think, is being relaxed. And one thing I always really try and make an effort to do is before I'm performing, is making sure that I'm physically relaxed. And if me being relaxed is having some food that actually does detriment my vocal cords, I've tried to sing stressed as well. And I find stress, if we're talking about vocal cords as an instrument, is much worse for my instrument. Sounds weird to say it like that. Than having a bit of dairy is. But I do appreciate, ultimately, I should take my job a bit more seriously sometimes.
Never. Ooh. What about favourite experience on the road?
It probably comes with those gigs, favourite experience on the road. We had one, let me think. We went to one school, and I just remember it being an incredible day. Yeah. And what I think is an amazing privilege to what we do when we go into schools is we get to really connect, Thing I don't like about gigs is there's this separation. It's like the artist and the person who's came to watch the artist. And there's this almost... And I know it's not intentional, but there's this almost air because people have come to see you of this almost superiority thing. Yeah. And I know that's not, but I feel like it's inbuilt in the whole thing of fame. not that we're famous, I'm not saying that, but when you see the stage and you see the people sitting, there's naturally people are in awe and go, wow, and almost don't see you as human sometimes. Sometimes, this is extreme, this isn't, I'm not saying it's everybody, but then when we go into a... Yeah, exactly. But then you go into a school, and this is like double-edged sword because I hate it sometimes, but other times I love it. Is you go in and you get to make real connections with people, and you get to see people and talk to them, because ultimately everyone who makes music has to have a voice. Yeah. I think if you don't have a voice and you don't have a message when you do music, that what's the point, man? Yeah. What are you trying to say? And I think it gives us an incredible opportunity to actually communicate what we want to say, and say, you know, these standards necessarily that the world might want you to live to, for young women in particular, or young men, you know, going around, and a lot of music says to go and act like this, or do this, or twerk on camera, or, you know, go and get involved in gang, all that stuff. You get to really make an effort and go, you know what, that's not how you should live your life. And I find that because you spend, even if it's 30 minutes with them, you see a different, like, it sinks in more than if I was to say it on stage. Because I've tried to say it on stage, and it kind of defeats a lot of what I do to a certain extent sometimes, in terms of the intent of what we do. Is you're saying it from a stage, and all they see is the stage, and you want it. Yeah. And they cheer anything, and they're not really listening. They're looking at you in awe, and it takes away the communication of what you're saying sometimes. So that's the highlight, is when I get to do those things, you know.
It's cool, man. Yeah.
That was a super deep response.
Deep response.
Deep.
We've got 2 questions left for you. One's more technical, one's more fun. So let's go technical. Okay. InEars or Wedges?
InEars or Wedges? So I prefer InEars when I remember him. I remember InEars. Yeah.
I have backups.
No, I prefer. Yeah. I prefer InEars with a little bit of bleed.
Sure.
So I used to have molds, and I still have the molds, but I don't use them anymore. Because the way I perform, I like to interact with an audience. I find if I get the molds, they're so noise cancelling that I'm unable to communicate with people, particularly if I'm performing, as in like face to face. And then the negative I hate wedges now. Yeah. But what I struggle with wedges is, I remember last time I did wedges, we were in, can't remember where it was. It was somewhere like, let's say it was Canterbury. It wasn't, but it was somewhere like that. And last time on wedges, there was 600, 700 kids turned up to this gig, and when they scream, it hurts you, like you damage your eardrums. So my boss, right, he was in a band for years, and his ears are shot now. He can't hear things. And he was like full time, signed to Warner Brothers, all those things, and he literally, his ears are shot now, all because of wedges, because he was doing these big bands, big gigs. People would scream, and then you have the track louder because people are screaming. Another thing with wedges is like, if you're in a band, if you're a solo artist, I think it's slightly different. But if you're in a band, everyone wants at different levels with wedges. So like, what do I do if someone else who's singing a vocal wants their vocal higher, but I can't hear mine, but then they struggle if I'm here? It's always, every day it is. Every day it is. What's the last question?
The last question is favourite lyric that you've written. Favourite one of your lyrics.
That's a deep question. Today we got we're in this weird place at the minute where we've ended up with fans, right? Weird. And there's this Spanish lady today who messaged us and quoted the Boundaries lyric.
Sure.
There's a song we wrote called Boundaries, and it was a song that was particularly close to my heart. Sorry, I'm typing in the lyrics just so I can remember. So I don't want to misquote my own song, because that just looks even worse than looking up your own lyrics, doesn't it?
Sort of.
And it was a song because I think the way society views sex and talks about sex is, I think, sometimes just really disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, talking about how you got to go and sleep around with as many people and do whatever, and that sounds like fun, I think. But I've done that and I've never found fulfillment. Sure. The only time in relationally I've found fulfillment is when I've had one partner and we really love each other and we're dedicated to each other, which I know sounds like a cliche, but a lot of people don't get that. And it's in the middle 8, and it's this girl and this guy, which is me and Sammy in the song, and we're talking about being together, and here it is. All right. So it's, I love you and I never want to leave you, but I ain't going to compromise to keep you, which is really, really deep. And what that's talking about is this, there's an expectation because of porn and stuff in life that women and men will both act a certain way.
Sure.
But this lyric is a woman saying, I love you so much, but I'm not going to compromise myself to keep you. And then the following line is, I love you, which is the guy talking. He says, I love you and I don't want you to leave me. You don't have to compromise to keep me. And I was just like, it's just beautiful. You know? I remember writing that and going, sometimes you write a song and when you write it, it's like, we wrote a song called So Good. And if I'm being honest, I just wanted to write a really fun pop song.
It's a fun song.
And that was the point of the song, that is feeling good about yourself. But other times you write a song and you're like, I've actually got something that I want to say here. Yeah. And that's one of the few moments that you really feel like you've nailed it. So that's Boundaries by SoulBox. Check it out on Spotify.
Your album out now.
iTunes. And album's been out for ages.
You're in a new one. Are you writing any more at the moment? You got stuff coming out soon?
Yeah, we've got some SoulBox stuff. We've got about 3 or 4 songs. This whole quarantine thing's really scuppered it because obviously we're on furlough. So we're not actually technically allowed to write for SoulBox at the moment because it counts as work, because obviously you profit off of songs, silly, even though it's such a small amount. So it's really hard. So I'm writing. We've written 3 or 4 songs. Yeah, we've written 3 or 4 songs that are about to be finished. Sure. Some cool features as well with different people. But I'm writing a lot for so Amongst Wolves. I've written a few different songs with them. And that's coming out in a week or so, I think.
They are more... well, they're like Imagine Dragons, aren't they? That kind of vibe.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for, that kind of vibe. They love talking about Biffy Clyro at the moment, so they want to go for that kind of thing as well. And that was really fun for me, because with SoulBox, I get to write, soul pop, if you like. And then I've done a lot of grime and rap in my life as well. But this was a really nice little change.
Cool, man.
And then for the songs to be really good, that people say, or people to be good enough for people to say, we really want that song, can we have that song, is really cool. So I'm doing lots of writing. I'm trying to do my own writing just for myself sometimes, because you've always got to do that, right? Any writing for you, Dan?
Yeah.
Well, I heard someone sent me over some things the other day that sounds pretty cool.
I haven't heard a response, so it's either amazing or terrible.
Goodbye, everybody. Yeah, goodbye, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. I'm John Soul, JustJon. Check us out. SoulBox, the band I'm part of. Check out more of Dan's content. I'm sure he's got loads of videos out there and that he's going to do more. We've got a YouTube channel as well, which is SoulBox Band. Check that out. Amazing. Good to see you all, and chat soon.
Nice one, mate. I'll see you soon. We hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you could like and subscribe and leave us a comment, that'd be amazing. Otherwise, we'll see you again in another video. Cheers, guys.